Hey everyone, Jack Boyle's Steam Engines USA. Got another package today. Always keep in mind a lot of the engines and things that we go through are available for purchase. So if there's something that you see on any of these videos that you're interested in, hit me up in the comments section under that video. And if it is for sale, we'll work out a deal. So we're going to open this up and take a look. This one has come all the way from Canada. So we got the top opened up here, and again, look at this. They got a nice little frame that they built in here. That's the power cord. So nice. I'm gonna have to use both hands and dig into this and undo it. So when we come back, you'll see it out on the table. All right, so I just had to take a time out and what I was doing and just share this superb packing job here. I do not think I've ever seen anything packed as well as this. The bottom piece of foam here in the bottom, the steam engine is actually wrapped, shrink wrapped around that bottom piece of foam, taped down. There's protective coverings taped down. I'm literally having to go through here and cut my way into removing this piece. And so since the last break in the video, I spent about 5 minutes digging into this. It had basically used like hot glue and glued the pieces of styrofoam down and built a frame. So thumbs up on packing. I'm telling you, you went way above and beyond, and I appreciate it because it's so nice to get something that's not damaged in shipping. So about 5 more minutes, we'll have this out of here. So thank you. We'll be right back. So, the best packing job of the year goes to my friend in Canada. Thank you, sir, for the extra detail and care in packing this item. So, we'll remove these final pieces of wrap and protective covering, and we'll take a look at what we got. I think you'll like it. And we're back. So, here is an up-close look at the Empire B38. And this is a very nice example. It is a hot air engine, meaning this is basically a heat exchanger in here. And I'm not entirely sure how this operates, other than instead of creating steam in a water chamber, it uses hot pressure. The difference in hot temperature and cold. And so I'm actually going to do a little more research on this myself. However, this engine came from Canada. I'm going to polish it and clean it up. It's pretty much as it was found. Patent November 10th, 1925. This is the plug-in for the power source, and it came with this very nice, looks to be an original cord. This cord has a on and an off switch. Plugs right in, and that's typical of what we saw with the Empire. This engine was manufactured and produced from 1924 to 1941, and it is called the Empire Hot Air Engine B38. So people call it a hot powered or a hot air powered engine, an electric expansion engine. I've heard submarine engine, and this particular model here has the cooling fins. Some of the engines did not have these fins on them. It was just a cylinder, basically, that sleeve. But it is, as far as steam engines goes, from like the 1920s, 1940s, this is in very good condition. It does, it does have some wear. Somebody used it. These were also used with store displays, and it was a very expensive engine. So, let's see, just a quick glance over here at our Metalware Corporation book by Donald Stilson. And I already have it open, so on page 38 in the book, it's got some information about it. It says the Empire Hot Air Engine 1938. This Empire B38 had 3 different names in the metalware advertising. So they called it hot air power engine, electric air expansion engine, electric submarine engine, and this is the B38 with cooling fins, which is the model we have right here with the cooling fins. Then they also have this B38 with mesh type displacer. See how it's just a, basically it's just a silk, I don't know what it's, silk or steel mesh screen. So water would pour through that, it's porous. So this is a mesh screen to displace the heat. It says there are 2 views of the mesh type dispenser. The more common engine had the cooling fin type dispenser, which is the one we have here. Usually they also had a screen cover as seen in other photos or pictures. And then it goes on to talk about the dimensions. So actually rather large steam engine. 110, 120 volts, 350 watts, and produced from 1924 to 1941. So as I mentioned the other day, with this engine, there's a pulley right here on the back. It's that small pulley. And you have a really big flywheel and a really tiny pulley. And so that pulley, when this is set up as a store display, would go to, it would be on a platform like you see in this diagram, and it went over to kind of a cake tier. They called it a 3-tier display with a B40 engine. So the only difference between this B40 and what you see here is right here. It would just say B40, and that was the designator to let you know that it was part of the display, store display. So to my understanding, fellow steamer collector Charlie Miller in Texas has the B40, or at least he's got this stand minus this topper. That was my understanding. I think he's still trying to acquire, locate this piece, or the top portion of it anyway. I think he's got the base, and he may be trying to recreate that, put it back together like it would have been. So keep an eye out for one of these little transmissions, little round transmission there. So that would be the next thing as far as this piece goes to track down. A true collector would have this one, then they would probably be looking for the mesh screen, and then ultimately this here. So you would have 3 versions of this engine. So there you have it. Great find. These engines were expensive in the day as far as the Empire line goes, and they did not produce a lot of them. This one, matter of fact, has got a little chip right here. You could repair that, but I'm actually going to leave it so that everyone knows this is the engine in this video. So if I ever part ways with this engine, or if you run across this engine, you'll know where you saw it. To do a restoration on this, we'd basically strip it down, take it completely apart. Everything red would be basically bead blasted, repainted, little badges, rivets, screws, all that stuff would be replaced. We'd keep the same badge, but just these, obviously those rivets would be replaced. This would be repainted and all this polished up, and I'm not sure if this is just a nickel finish or just a metal, but we could polish it. This looks like nickel. Polish it all out. So in your comment section, do we restore it or just clean it and leave it as you see it, with all the character and what I call wrinkles, years of use, wear and tear, just time in itself. So I'd really like to hook this thing up and see it in action. So I might save that for another video. But as you can see in this chamber, I've got what looks like a piston rod moving back and forth, but it's capped off in there. So this is maybe the cool air expansion area. This would be like the heater, hot air area. This looks like maybe kind of like a breathe tube. Over here we also have a tube that breathes down in the top. So the piston over here is going back and forth. So my understanding is this side gets hot and pushes the crank away, and then this side gets cool and pushes it away. So it's kind of a back and forth. So I'm gonna have to study up. I've always wanted one of these, but you know, I'll just be straight up honest with you. I've never read up or looked into or understand how this functions. But it is the hot air engine. So that'll give me something else to dig into. There's a lot of hot air engines out there. It's a very popular engine. To my knowledge, this is the only one that Empire produced, and it wasn't a big seller, so they didn't make a whole lot of them, and therefore it's pretty unusual to run across one. So in the comment section, if you have anything you'd like to add to this video, information, things that you may have picked up on, or just general knowledge about this engine, how it works, feel free to comment, throw some links in there. So I'm pretty pleased with this engine. I'm very excited to have it here in the collection at Steam Engines USA. So if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, click the like button, and that'll help me with the algorithms and getting more people to see these videos and subscribe and like them, and keep making them. So from High Point, North Carolina, Steam Engines USA, thanks for watching.